750 BC, during a time when the Near East was fragmented into numerous small kingdoms and city-states. These territories were located between the powerful Assyrian Empire to the north and Egypt to the south. One of these kingdoms was Israel, whose people worshipped multiple gods, including Yahweh. In 722 BC, the Assyrian Empire conquered the capital city of Samaria. As a result, a portion of the population fled to the Kingdom of Judah and Jerusalem. However, the Assyrian army pursued them as they continued their expansion southward. The region remained under Assyrian control for a century until the Babylonians overthrew Nineveh, the capital of the Assyrian Empire. Egypt and Babylon subsequently vied for control over the territories of the former empire. Nevertheless, the Babylonians swiftly emerged as the dominant power in the region. Jerusalem resisted this new rule and rebelled against the Babylonians. In response, the Babylonian army returned to besiege and destroy the city. Many of its inhabitants were forcibly relocated to Babylon. In 539 BC, the Achaemenid Persian Empire conquered Babylon, and the new Persian king granted permission for Judeans to return to Jerusalem. Consequently, many Judeans chose to rebuild the city and re-establish Jewish cultural foundations, including the construction of the Temple of Solomon and the writing of the Torah. In 334 BC, Alexander the Great, the ambitious young king of Macedonia, embarked on a conquest to expand his empire across the known world. Within just over a decade, he achieved significant territorial gains and founded numerous cities. However, his conquests exhausted him, and he died at the age of 32 in Babylon, leaving no heir of governing age. As a result, his generals divided his empire into various Hellenic kingdoms. Judea came under the control of the Ptolemaic dynasty. A Jewish community settled in the newly established city of Alexandria, and the Torah was translated into Greek. Friction between Hellenic and Jewish cultures arose following a war against the Seleucid dynasty. This tension escalated to the point where one of the altars in the Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem was dedicated to the worship of Zeus. In response, a traditionalist and anti-Hellenic Jewish militia organized and took control of Jerusalem in 164 BC. The temple was restored, and the Kingdom of Judea gained independence. However, a century later, the region was conquered by the Roman army. The Judeans staged two major revolts against the new regime, both of which were brutally suppressed. The first revolt in 66 AD led to the siege of Jerusalem and the destruction of its temple. The surviving wall of the enclosure became known as the Wailing Wall. During the second revolt, the city was razed, and a significant portion of the population was killed. The Jews were subsequently denied safe passage to Judea, leading many to migrate to other regions, including Galilee and different parts of the Roman Empire. By the end of the Roman Empire, Christianity had become the dominant religion, and Jerusalem had become a place of pilgrimage. In the Mediterranean basin, the relatively prosperous Jewish community faced persecution, particularly in the Visigothic and Byzantine empires. In the 7th century, with the rise of Islam, an Arab conquest began. Some Jews supported this conquest in hopes of better conditions. The Arab conquerors tolerated the Jews, and only polytheistic people were forcibly converted. In Jerusalem, the Dome of the Rock was constructed, further solidifying the city's significance for the three monotheistic religions. The Arabs expanded their rule to the Iberian Peninsula, which they named Al-Andalus. Here, the Jewish population made up 5% of the total, and a golden age of culture